Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together and talk about movies, TV, and online content, helping answer the question, has Timothée Chalamet actually done a huge favour to opera and ballet? I'm your host, Ash Shuttlebley. Join me today, Don Blatt.
Out of all the things that Timmy could say that potentially would cause controversy, of which I never thought he would pick something controversial to talk about, it's funny how this has become his thing. Such an offhand remark. Here we are.
Yeah, and like slightly out of context, I guess. But I've seen several social media posts from obviously opera people and ballet people being very upset with Timothée Chalamet, and also offering discount codes
To
with
what,
the code word
or...
Timothy to their events or whatever.
Really?
It's like they're taking this, like this moment has given so much publicity to people in ballet and opera. I think it is weirdly done more good than a lot of the actual companies who run these things.
It's funny. I've seen a lot of people talk very seriously, like as if he had wrote a massive essay talking about how it's a ballet and dance or whatever terrible opera and stuff are dead art forms or something. But it's just like he just said it as such an off cuff just remark.
So the context was, one, this was an interview that he did with Matthew McConaughey 2 to 3 weeks ago. It was like a CNN special or whatever.
The power of clips, you know?
Yeah, but how it took 3 weeks to come to light or whatever, you know, the people get upset about it. He was talking about how at the moment, hang on, I got the Hollywood Reporter article, I'll just read straight from here. McConaughey, the duo discusses audiences' eroded attention spans and whether there is an appetite for slow-paced films. Chalamet said that there is among younger fans, citing Netflix's Frankenstein, adding, it does take you having to wave a flag, hey, this is a serious movie or something, and some people do want to be entertained and quickly. I'm really right in the middle. I admire people, and I've done it myself, who go on a talk show and say, hey, you've got to keep movie theaters alive, we've got to keep genre alive, and another part of me feels like if people want to go see it, like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, they're going to go see it and go out of their way to be loud and proud about it. I don't want to be working in ballet or opera where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore. All respect to ballet and opera people, I just lost 14 cents of viewership. I'm taking shots for no reason. So he's talking about he doesn't want the movie industry to become something like ballet or opera, where it is very niche and definitely not just mainstream. Yeah. That's what he was trying to say, I could only assume.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
Which, admittedly, a bit of an extreme take, because I don't think going to the theatre is going to be the same as going to the ballet or opera anytime soon.
I think the way I took it is his brain was trying to think of art forms in which you sit in a audience and look up at and watch something. And his brain went to those two. And the thing is, I don't watch either, but I wouldn't say, I don't by any means think they're dead art forms. However, I do get how his brain got to.
Yes, they're super niche and do need at least here in Australia, I believe, require heavy government funding to keep going
alive. Yeah.
So, you know, it's just part of this anti-Timothée Chalamet.
They're trying to ruin him his Academy Award chances.
You know, that's what they keep saying.
Campaign.
It's been crazy this week. Have you seen the story about Jessie Buckley?
No, I haven't seen the Jessie Buckley one. No.
Apparently, there's been a campaign, like, kind of to ruin her Oscar chances, because apparently when she moved in with her husband, she asked him to rehouse their cat because apparently it was very badly behaved over and wasn't working out.
Okay, that sounds like a personal thing that has nothing to do with anything.
It's disgusting though that she would ask to get rid of a cat, a loved member of the family.
I feel like there's so much context to this story that no one has. This is what's wrong
they're
with
just reading the cliff notes and they're getting very upset about it, as the internet does.
As the internet does, yeah.
As if the world doesn't have bigger problems to deal with.
Mm-hmm. It's not like there's wars happening or anything like that, you know.
Not like I have to sell a kidney to drive to work or anything.
Yeah. Fuel prices just went up fucking something ridiculous in 24 hours here. It's fine. Let's talk about rehousing cats. Again, which means moving it to a better home. Not even like putting it down or something.
Mm-hmm. On this episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be talking about
We're recording What Do You Want to Watch? Yes. Right, sorry.
we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving thumbs to trailers, and give this week's top 3. Let's kick things off with Dylan, the film that you have been non-stop thinking about for the last month. The moment you managed to trek all the way to a cinema far away to watch the moment. Did it live up to your expectations?
So last week, obviously, I was complaining that the moment wasn't showing on here in Launceston where I live, and that really annoyed me. It wasn't showing at either of the theaters locally. And then I thought I'd have to make a trip to Hobart, which I was gonna do. I'm like, I'll do a day trip to Hobart to watch the moment. And then I randomly decided to check Devonport, and they were showing it, which I wouldn't have expected because if anyone has any context, knows anything about Tasmania, just Devonport feels like not the sort of cinema / I don't know. Nonetheless, I was showing the moment, so I went for a drive solely to watch the moment down there, which is a readings. Is it reading or readings?
Reading.
Reading cinema. The only one that's in Tassie, I believe, is the one at Devonport. How
far away is that?
Hey, it's about an hour 15, bit over an hour.
Okay.
So I don't know, just say like two and a half hour round trip to watch the movie. Because I literally just parked my car, got out, watched a movie, walked out cinema, got my car, drove away. It's not like I did anything else there. All right. So the moment is the Charlie XCX film. I am a huge Charlie XCX fan to the point of it really annoys friends because they get in the car and that's all I'm listening to at some point, and I'll just get remarks like, "Do you not get sick of listening to Charlie?" I'm like, "No, just on repeat, baby." So this movie is based on the idea that she had, which is based on her own experience with the post-release of the Brat album and the huge sort of success and moment that was. It is a, what do we call it? Mockumentary? Yeah. Mockumentary style in which camera crews are following her around in the, I think it's 8 weeks, sort of, in the lead up to the Brat tour. So it's like her preparing for that, practicing for it, and some of the things happening at the same time. So obviously she plays herself, a version of herself, because it's a mockumentary. It's not a real film, real story. You have some oval people in it playing themselves, like Rachel Sennott and Khloe Kardashian, and then actors like Alexander Skarsgård plays her tour director. Well, that's what his job was supposed to be. He gets a little bit too hands-on with the direction of her brand. And then someone else who's really good is Rosanna Arquette, who plays the head of, I think she's supposed to be the head of Atlantic Records from the US, basically, is what she's supposed to be. I laughed out loud several times, including this funny moment. And again, there is a lot of context to this. Obviously, being a huge fan, the jokes are targeted and work towards me. I don't feel like you have to be a huge fan to enjoy the film. I feel like you just have to have context, at least a little context around knowing who Charlie XCX is, and then a general understanding of a pop culture and pop singers in general would help. There's a funny moment. Also, I was the only person in the theater, so I was just it's literally no one else. So I remember like one of the early moments that just made me laugh out loud quite a lot is she's sitting, she gets told to wait in the car, and while someone else goes in to make sure like she's not going to get hounded by people at this event that she's going to do for a Brat themed credit card, which just plays into which is one of the main plot lines, weirdly, of this film, to sort of show the absurdity of like corporate deals and structures and stuff. But she's sitting there, and then her like limo driver or bus driver, whatever she's in, says like, "Oh, you're a singer then, love," or something. And she's like, "Yep." And he's like, what do you do? And she's like, "I don't know, like dance pop." And he's like, "Oh, I'll look you up." He like opens Apple Music or some shit. And it's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "Charlie XCX," with a accent. And he like types in Charlie. He's like, "That first one there." And then I laughed even more because we was talking about him recently. But the top result that he goes, "This one," and she goes, "No, that's Charlie Puth." Whatever. And then he clicks on her. She's like, "I'm the last one at the bottom of that list you got there." That. And he clicks on it and starts playing fucking mental blanking on the song now. The one that came out with the Fault of Our Stars. Starts playing that song, and he's like, "Oh, your hair looks so good now." And all this like vibing along. He's like, "This is a good song." And she's like, "Yeah, it came out with a movie." And he says something and she goes, yeah, it was about a kid dying from cancer. And then there's other just sort of slapsticky comedy moments where they're like hoisting up stuff, which you see in the trailer, like making out like she's got to be on wires and stuff, and it just comes crashing down. And she's like, that's supposed to be. She's generally very good in this, and I'm excited to see her. Obviously, we've talked about Charlie taking a step into acting more. She's got many projects lined up and that she's doing right now, and she's quite good in this. In particular, she does a monologue at the end of the movie, which is very, very good. And she just plays a really like sort of manic version of herself, crumbling under the pressure of trying to live up to fan expectations, what the studio wants, what she wants, all these sorts of things. It's meant to just encapsulate what the experience of like being a pop star is. Without spoiling it, by the time you get to the last act of the movie, I don't really care what she said and other people have said from her label and whatever at this point. That song, Sympathy is a Knife, which everyone started the whole Taylor Swift versus Charlie XCX beef last year that everyone then tried to squash and be like, no, it's not really about her and all these things. The end of this movie is a big fuck you to Taylor Swift, and I will not take it any other way, because this movie sort of just plays out in a alternate reality where Charlie, instead of staying the I mean, to me, she's hyper pop is like the genre, or like dance pop, but she's like a punk pop star. Like she's not placating and making music for kids and stuff like that. Like her whole thing is being who she is and not sort of giving into company or record wants and stuff to chase billboard labels and stuff. This movie presents an idea of what if that's what she did, and it plays out like a horror story. Like this is just, and the horror story is, what if Charlie XCX became Taylor Swift? And yeah, the main problem I have with the movie, I loved it as a fan and everything. I think the main problem sort of comes with some of the script is the main issue. I think everyone in it's very good, but the script is just simply, it has this credit card plot line that doesn't really, I know what it's trying to do, but it doesn't do as good as a job as presenting or portraying this thing that it thinks it's portraying. And it also doesn't do a great job of balancing the dramatic elements with the comedic elements, because it's quite funny as I'm explaining it at quite a lot of points, and then it's also quite dramatic at times, including when she gives this great monologue at the end of the movie. I don't think it does a great job at like mixing the elements, and it should have potentially leaned more into one or the other, because it just sort of comes off like whiplashy at times when it's jumping. This is like even the scene where the dummy on the ropes and stuff is being hoisted up, and it is funny when it drops and she's like, is that supposed to be me? That was right before it happens, her and this other character having quite a dramatic moment that was sort of sad to watch play out. It's basically her main best friend who's like gets the Brat brand, gets Charlie's brand, and she's sort of having a fight with her, and it's like sort of cut off for a joke. Honestly, makes me feel like that scene, which I always hate from Thor Ragnarok, where they do a joke with landing on the bridge and it ruins the emotional element. I've always talked about that. This is what this scene weirdly reminded me of. Acting wise, everyone's of a highlight I'd just say is Alexander Skarsgård is having the best time of his life playing this manager character. He is very funny. He is just absolutely pompous. You know the type of person he's playing. You would like you know what he's trying to sort of portray within the type of character and the manager type or whatever that you would see in interviews with different people and stuff. But yeah, when he's doing, like, you see it in the trailer as well, when he's like trying to get Charlie to pretend doing this walk along the runway and be like, and then talk to the fans and they want a selfie with you. And then he like hands her a script and she's supposed to read out like, this album couldn't be made with all of yous, and then wants her to end with it saying like, Brat forever. And then he like does the whole thing in the trailer where he's like does this fucking three pose thing where he's like, Brat forever or whatever. That's quite funny. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again just because, yeah. It's a movie for me, but in general, I think as long as you have, if you know who she is and Taylor Swift is, I think you will get a kick out of it.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got to experience that in a theater.
Me too. I was going to be really disappointed for the first time. I had to watch it at home. Yeah.
All right. I ventured out to cinema and checked out the new Glen Powell film, How to Make a Killing, directed by John Patton Ford. So Glenn Powell plays the bastard son of. So there is the Beckett. There's a Redfellow family, which is like built up as a very wealthy family with like billions of dollars in wealth and that kind of stuff. His mother was got pregnant when she was 18 and got kicked out of the family effectively. But because of the way the trust is been set up, he technically could inherit the entire amount if he is the next.
died.
If everybody died, I mean, that's the basic premise. But yes, his mother died in his early teens, alone, destitute. Well, they're not destitute; they were living pretty good, okay, in like New Jersey. But you know, the option was there for the family to intervene and kind of help them out, but they chose not to, and she ended up dying. So he has this like kind of grudge against all of them. Cut to like he's in his 30s. He meets his childhood crush again, who is a wealthy woman called Julia, played by Margaret Qualley, who brings up the notion of, let me know if you start killing all your family members or whatever. And after he gets fired from his job, like made a bit redundant because the CEO's son needs a job and they give him his, he decides, why not? I'm just going to go start killing my relatives one by one, and kind of proceeds to do that. But also like after killing one of his cousins, one of the first people he kills, he befriends that cousin's dad, so his uncle, who gives him like a proper job in like finance and that kind of stuff. So then he starts living a like totally a normal finance bro life, I guess, while also kind of picking up people at the time. Meanwhile, you got Margot Qualley coming in, like he's getting away with a lot of these murders because he's made him look like accidents, that kind of thing. But Margot Qualley comes in, is like, hey, I know I married this douchebag, but he's not making any money. It'd be really great if you could give me a loan, And then I won't, hinting that she knows about his extracurricular activities of killing the rest of his family. And that's pretty much how the story kind of plays out, I guess. I liked it. It's definitely pretty good, but it's I don't know, missing something, It's just there's just missing some sort of level to take it from good to great. I think one element is just the framing of the film. The film opens with him in prison, and the story is retold through a confession to a priest.
That spoils.
It does kind of. I mean, there's some twist on it at the end, but it does definitely. One, it gives you, unless you know that he's going to survive until this point, he's going to get caught at some point. But yeah, I feel like that kind of takes the tension out of it, but also allows him to narrate and give his inner monologue, I guess, for all those moments, that kind of stuff. It leads to like good cuts and that kind of stuff. And Glenn Powell is just. He's pretty good in the role. I really love Jessica Henwick, who plays like a love interest, and Margaret Qualley is, a pretty fantastic femme fatale type. Although I feel like at times she's just a bit too vague and should just get to the point. It's enjoyable enough, I think. The weirdest thing is they're like they purposely hide who the grandfather is, his grandfather, like the head of the Redfellow family is. Until the very end, it's like
they even do like the trailer, or did I just assume it was? I was assuming that what's his face was the head of the family.
I know who.
Who's the oldest cast member in the show? Fuck, what's his name? Go through the cast members you just said.
I didn't.
Fuck,
I did say it's Ed Harris.
Thank you. Yes, Ed Harris is in the trailer.
But yeah, in the way that they shoot the film, they make it like some sort of secret that this is the cast member, because they like show him talking on the phone or whatever, but they like have him like shadows covering his face and stuff like that. It's an odd choice.
Because he's in the trailer.
Why would you show him in the trailer if you're not gonna? If you wanted to make it appear like he's like a cameo reveal, why would you show him in the show? I don't know. But yeah. Interesting film, How to Make a Killing. I've also just watched the first episode of the new show by Bill Lawrence, Matt Tarsi, starring Steve Carell, a comedy on HBO Max, Rooster. So Steve Carell plays a novelist. He writes, I don't know what I would describe the genre as. I don't know what the official term for the genre would be, but it is like the male equivalent of female romance books. It seems like the main character in his books is called Rooster, who has sex a lot in the books and solves mysteries and stuff.
Yeah. This thing, yeah.
So Steve Carell's character Greg comes to this small liberal arts college to check on his daughter, played by Charlie Clive, who has just like separated from her husband after she found out he was cheating with a grad student at the college. And it's just kind of, they definitely haven't clearly set up what the series is going to be, but he gets offered a like job on campus by the dean, played by John C. McKinley. And yeah, he's a very shy character who is very awkward, but also quite honest at times. There's a very amusing scene when he meets up with one of the college kids who was he did like a reading of his novel to like the students. One of the kids is like a big fan because he loves all the sex in the books. He asked him he's forgot to bring his wallet so Steve Carell buys him beer. But when they step outside, there's a police officer. Of course, the kid's not over 21.
No, he's McLovin.
So the police officer asks him why he would be buying him beer. Could be for any reason. And Steve Carell's like, I'm sure you didn't buy him beer for no reason. It's like, what? I swear I didn't buy it for him to give me a blowjob or anything. And it's like, I wasn't even thinking that. It's like leading this whole awkward situation. And later Danielle Deadweiler plays like a professor, the lit professor who kind of brought him in to do the reading, who makes a advance on him and offers to go have sex together, in which he awkwardly turns it down in a terribly awkward way twice, to the extent where she can't get into her apartment because the key is bent. So she just breaks the window and gets in because she needs to get out of the situation. So, yeah, I'm not sure where exactly it's going to go from the first episode, but I'm enjoying Steve Carell. I'm enjoying the characters, and it definitely feels like it the trailer gives more of a way of like a.
I think I saw IGN gave this a 10. I think
I did give it a 10. So
yeah.
I have a lot of faith in Bill Lawrence. Bill
don't know if
Lawrence
that
has
was
got a lot of work lately, but
I don't know if that was a full season. I didn't look into it.
I assume it would be the full season. So
okay, but at least even if it wasn't, it would be enough episodes to usually if you get screeners for a TV series, sometimes they give you everything other than like the last 2 episodes,
maybe the finale or something,
series finale.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It ends on the daughter burning the ex-husband's house down, so by accident, kind of. So there's good stuff there. Oh yeah, so check out Rooster on HBO Max. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. And Dylan, you've watched a couple of documentaries that have come to Netflix. Talk to me first about Louis Theroux, Inside the Manosphere.
Yeah, men suck. We should end the man experiment potentially and just, I don't know, I'm all for giving women a go. Just run the earth for a while and we'll see if they can rectify things. The Manosphere, which is like without diving on the Wikipedia explanation for it, it's basically a accompanying group of, like, you got your Andrew Tates, and it's probably the most popular, well-known misogynist that fits into this group, and then it's paired up with a bunch of other people that, to be honest, if you haven't heard of anyone in this, is probably a good sign. I've unfortunately heard of 2 people that were in this, not because I watched them, please, I swear to God, but because they have popped up on my newsfeed with people making fun of them, which is sort of okay. So the main, I can't remember, and honestly, who cares? I don't even care if it's the main guy he follows is like someone called TikToky. I don't know, some fucking guy I've never heard of. So it's him. He interviews Sneeko. He interviews some other guy whose name I don't remember, and I don't really care. Justin Waller, actually, or something like that. I think. And the main thing is they're all either YouTubers or not YouTubers if they're not banned on it. TikTokers if they're not banned on it, or Kick streamers, which none of them are banned on because it's Kick. And it's Louis Theroux sort of going around doing the Louis Theroux thing, which is just sort of doing awkward interviewing style to get people to, and happily sitting in the awkward silence is what he does quite well, to try and understand what drives these people to hate women so much. And because generally they all have similar ideals or the way they work, which is quite, most of them, like, women should be, you know, fully covered up, not dressed like sluts. They shouldn't be doing this. They should only, you know, they should be at home having a baby, cooking dinner for their man, sort of thing. And then at the same time, most of them then hang out with OnlyFans models and all these sorts of things. And Louis does in this, like, ask about that. And, you know, he's like, yeah, fucking, they're all sluts, blah, blah, blah. You know, quite often they all associate with these people, but then like I think that Justin, whatever, I forgot his last name, I've already said it and then forgot it. He has like, and even one of the other guys who I don't remember his name, but I think their brand's like Too Fit for, I don't know, something fit. They have this whole thing where all of them are like, this is my woman, she stays at home, she's got to have a baby and cook all this stuff. She can't talk to other men at all, full stop. And then all of them are allowed, but the men are all allowed to fuck as many other women as they like. That's okay. That's all good. That's totally normal. That's a great relationship system. So it dives into them. I would say it's an interesting watch just because you get to see so many terrible, disgusting people. If you can handle that. I mean, I constantly felt like I was just watching scum on screen. Which it is, just constantly just scum everywhere. And then, but you don't really get much out of it, I think is my only complaint. I don't really know that by the end of this, you're going to walk away going, man, I really understand what drives these people other than they are ultimately hugely sexist, misogynist pigs who, even if they play it up somewhat more on the camera because it gets clicks and views and drives their revenue, at the end of the day, they are still old, sexist, misogynist, terrible, disgusting people. There are some funny bits, whether or not they're kind of funny, like that other guy, TikToky guy, whose name I can't remember. There's like a part where he starts talking to Louis Theroux's cameraman, like he's doing a fucking intro to a stream or vlog. It was like this. And Louis like interrupts him. He's like, why are you talking to the camera? He's like, oh, do I not talk to that camera? And he's like, Louis is like, no, just pretend the camera's not there. You're talking to me. Like it's just, they all start like auto. And then no matter what he's doing, all of them, especially that guy, has someone else constantly either live streaming what they're doing or recording what they're doing. And there's an interesting thing where I guess, I didn't see it, but you'd have to be in these people's audiences. But while Louis was filming the documentary, because they were like constantly live streaming Louis following them around, there's already like clips of them being like, Louis Theroux, cuck, you know, blah, 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 tell him just on stream, blah, 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 all this, you know, stuff out there, which, I mean, he couldn't say no to. Like, you can't be like, yeah, I want to do a documentary, but you can't live stream to your fucking stupid audience at the same time or whatever. But yeah, I think as far as a documentary goes, I think not having access to people like Andrew Tate, even though you see clips of him and stuff, sort of leaves it unfulfilled as far as a complete collection and view on this subculture, if that's what we want to call it, of just the alt. So it feels like you're sort of getting a few of the B tier people, but you're missing the A tier. And I do feel like it's weird to say I'm missing Andrew Tate in something like that's something. But as far as a documentary goes, their name is mentioned several times. There's clips of them. A lot of the people in here they're interviewing say that the Tate brothers are their idols and they love them so much and everything. And it feels like the documentary in a novel world would lead up to an interview of Louis and Andrew Tate or the Tate brothers, but it doesn't. So it leaves you a little bit unfulfilled as to capturing this full side of the internet. But yeah, I mean, if you want to watch something with a bunch of disgusting men, not that there's enough of that to see on the internet anyway, here, have had it.
All right, let's talk about something a little less depressing. You watched the documentary The TikTok Killer.
I don't know if that's less depressing. It's about a serial killer.
I know which one's more depressing. People.
This is also
Terrible
about
man.
This is a Spanish documentary. Yes, I was double checking before I was incorrect. Spanish. This follows this. So it's interesting in that basically, not that it's a spoiler because you get the gist of where it's going like 15, 20 minutes into the 2 hour long episodes. But this woman goes missing, Esther, who's like I think she's like 40 something. She goes missing, and then this guy reaches out and says like, "Oh, I was hanging out with your daughter," to the mum of Esther at some point. It's like, "I was hanging out with her for a period. I spent some of her last days with her," and it's this guy, old man. I don't know, like 60-ish would be my guess, who is a TikToker who is filming himself daily. He just walks all around Spain. He's going to all these other areas. He's filming these videos that come across very inspirational and whatever. He's like talking about how beautiful it is to walk around and see the land and interact with people and get to know people. And generally the videos come across quite, at least the ones they present when they first introduced to him, like, oh, he's this lovely old man who's just happy to, be going around, meeting new people, making friends, being one with the world, exploring these beautiful locations, telling you about them and all these sorts of things. But then, of course, it's like the pieces start to come together of, hold on, let's Google this guy, as the mum and her other daughter do. And it turns out he was a serial killer who killed 3-4 people or something, did 30 years in jail, somehow got out. I don't know how the Spaniards do their system, but I think if you kill 3-4 people and are convicted, I don't know how you get, like, you wouldn't think you'd get out, but he got out. Now he's been roaming around and he's become a TikToker and becomes the number one subject, of course. But then they can't get enough evidence. The cops, even when they do want to find him, struggle to find him, even though he's constantly TikToking himself because he doesn't actually have a home address or anything. He's just walking around. Meanwhile, he's playing dumb to what they assume he's done, which is potentially be the cause of Esther missing. And he's going around filming all these videos about how much he misses his friend that he spent 2 weeks with, meeting, and I hope someone finds her, and all this stuff. Yeah. Obviously, it's dark subject matter, but I did find it quite interesting just because it's such a modern age oddity of a story. And also because it's not a young dude. Like, there is something even more stranger about this 60-something-year-old dude being, TikTok and filming his clips and whatever else. And yeah, so no, I enjoyed it as far as serial killer documentaries go. Would recommend watching those 2 episodes.
Dylan, you can take a break because put your feet up, put some aloe vera on yourself. Because
thank you.
I'm going to be talking about some anime.
You know how much I hate anime.
Absolutely. I've been checking out a new series that launched this latest anime season, Sentenced to be a Hero. So it's set in this like medieval world in which like there's magic, but there's also use a lot of technology. But there is a demon blight that is
It's my last name.
this not in a nice way, this one that is plaguing the world.
No, that's what I do. Sorry.
Yeah, destroying the soil, infecting people,
Still sounds like me.
making things terrible. So in this world, there are people who, when they're charged with terrible, terrible crimes, they are sentenced to become heroes, which are, they're technically, immortal beings who are tasked to do whatever they're sentenced to do. But every single time they die, they like get revived, but they like lose a little part of themselves or whatever. So the main character is a hero named Xylo, who is very hell-bent on like proving he has. It turns out after the first at the end of the first episode, he was framed essentially, so he would become a hero. So his ultimate goal is to find out who was behind the conspiracy to get him sentenced to be a hero and get his justice or whatever, I guess. So he's gruff and mean. He also he was sentenced to be a hero for killing a goddess. So goddesses are these very powerful beings within this world who have amazing powers over, but they also they connect to one knight. Like they make a personal bond to one knight, and they also really, really desire praise. So during the first episode, Xylo happens across another goddess who he is forced to bond with, who so now this odd couple is teamed up against, the world when he is considered the scum of the earth and she is a goddess. It's like this weird pairing. I'm enjoying it. It's really cool. I really love what they've done with like the demons in this, where it is, imagine if the infection in The Last of Us infected animals and made them demons and that kind of stuff. It's a very much sort of that idea of like this, I guess it looks like a fungi that's like causing all these different animals to grow in size and become thoroughly deadly and that kind of stuff. Although I don't know what the actual I don't know how realistic the makeup of the animals in this world are, because you've got fucking giant frogs and then gorillas and deer and fox hounds and that kind of stuff. It's like the weird makeup of animals. But yeah, I mean, it does that anime thing of like cool action fighting, that kind of stuff. It feels like this season's version of Solo Leveling to an extent, with like the fighting and that kind of stuff. So if you're into
Cordyceps.
cordyceps and like sad boy, pensive heroes with brash, talkative female sidekicks, this is a show for you, anime for you. I sold this show really great. All right.
You did a good job, yeah.
That's everything I watched this year. Let's move into a little bit of film news. Speaking of things that we have watched, though, Game of Thrones has found recent success. Of course, we've recently finished watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. House of Dragon Season 3 is about to launch. But word is Game of Thrones is now reportedly... A Game of Thrones movie is now reportedly in development at Warner Brothers. Reading from IGN, and may revolve around a character never seen before in any of the shows. The rap says that while those plans may change, the Game of Thrones film is now firmly in development. House of Cards showrunner and Andor writer Bo Willimon is reportedly writing the screenplay and has allegedly submitted an initial draft. That's all the information we have for now, but according to Page 6 Hollywood, the story could revolve around Dragon Lord Aegon I, also known as Aegon the Conqueror, and Aegon the Dragon. Aegon I was the first Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and King on the Iron Throne, founding the ruling Targaryen dynasty of Westeros, while that is at the heart of George R. R. Martin's hugely popular fantasy universe. Sources tell Page 6 that Warner Brothers leadership was pumped on Williman's draft, and that the storyline may center on Aegon I, who spawned the Targaryen dynasty and united six of the Seven Kingdoms through bloody conquest about 300 years before the original Game of Thrones pilot. Dylan, what do you think about us potentially getting Game of Thrones on the big screen?
I like the idea of Game of Thrones on the big screen. Obviously, the universe and a lot of the episodes you can picture the Battle of the Bastards and stuff. You're just like, man, I wish I could have watched that on the big screen. And it's ripe for the big screen as far as IP goes, and I'm all for getting people's butts in cinemas. And if you can take a lot of TV fans, HBO fans, and get them to go watch a film in the cinema, I'm all for that. As far as stories go, there is that element of, one side of the coin is that's an interesting one. Yes, I would like to see that. But then my other side is, man, I'm sort of, how many fucking Targaryen stories do we need to see? The problem is that there's such a big main part of the Westeros world and lore that you can't really escape it. And even though I'm like, man, do we really need another Targaryen story? I also would accept that it's probably the best bet to do a Targaryen story, especially this one, to get people to go watch. Like if you want to do a movie and you want it to be right for success, you're not pulling a random other short story sort of thing from one of George's other books or something and adapting that to the big screen. You would do something that's more substantial. So I get it.
Yeah, I mean, the concept sounds interesting. There's lots of interesting elements, but one part is that apparently an Aegon I TV series had been in the works, whether that and seems to be not killed yet. So I assume one of these will see the light of day, whether it's the film or the TV version. I don't know. But I know this seems like, the idea of Aegon I winning the war, I guess, to become the conqueror. I know. Sure, might be cool to see over the course of the TV series, but like seeing it on the big screen and like with the budget that a movie can have, I think might be the better direction. Especially, it will make it feel epic and like special, I guess, like compared to
I guess
what we see of the TV series.
The yin and yang of this is condensed story and characters for bigger, better looking battle versus cheaper battle, half an episode, one episode, more focus on character. That's sort of the what you'd be looking at.
Let's do both. I don't know how you do it, but do both. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Of course, I don't know if we've talked about it, but there's a few Game of Thrones projects currently in the works. Apparently, according to this IGN article, there is a Arya Stark spin-off that is in very, 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 very early development. Of course, that's following the collapse of the Jon Snow sequel that they were talking about. There is also talk of doing a prequel to dramatize the events of Robert's Rebellion. Actually, hang on, I'm reading this wrong. A new Game of Thrones prequel is set to dramatize the events of Robert's Rebellion and debut on UK stage this summer. I didn't know that was a thing.
That's the one. I didn't read it. I saw a headline saying something about a Game of Thrones stage story, so that's what that one is. Okay.
Theater.
Yep.
Not
Netflix.
Dead. People want to
Stranger
go.
Things. Netflix. Stranger Things. Also, Timmy never said theater is dead. He would never dare.
No, yeah. Well, there's so many actors in SAG going to
theater. Theater is well alive.
Yes. All right, moving on. Pete Docter, the head of Pixar, had a wide-ranging Wall Street interview profile release. No, Wall Street Journal profile release this week with a bunch of different tidbits that have been pulled out for different stories. I mean, the one that's got the most traction is his comments that he made about the changes to Elio, in which he said, in his own words, "We're making a movie, not hundreds of millions of dollars of therapy." That quote comes up in context specifically of Elio, the 2025 film that Pete Docter ordered to be heavily and expensively retooled after Texas audiences were lukewarm of the idea of paying to seeing it, a process that ended up dishing LGBTQ themes. But that pushback on the personal is just the general theme of the profile, which seems to suggest that Docter, described as the least assertive member of the Brains Trust, referring to the family's famed inner circle of decision makers during the Lasseter era, went initially overboard in allowing his directors to make personal stories before taking a hard pivot into something more aggressively commercial. This analysis from AV Club, I'm going to continue reading. Some of it, if we're honest, feels a bit tad ideological. Wall Street Journal piece is very careful to note anytime a recent Pixar project, including Luca, Elemental, Elio, and the cancelled Beef Fry, which Disney ended up killing outright, was inspired by the director's youth. The article describes a come to Jesus speech that Docter apparently gave to staff sometime in the not too distant past, but also quoting him as saying stuff like, "I probably over-indexed on do whatever you want, and as time goes on, I realized my job is to make the films appeal to everybody." And that's before you get into specific conversations about removing references to gay or trans characters in films like Elio or the Pixar TV series Win or Lose. The Doctor saying something to the effect that the studio realized some parents didn't want entertainment to force them to have a conversation they weren't ready for with their children, i.e. the same timeline higher-ups at Disney have been given for excising those elements. Of course, I believe elsewhere in the article, he talks about wanting to go back to more universal themes and that kind of stuff. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Dylan, about this potential new direction for Pixar of not allowing... I hope. What do you take from that?
Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense. I mean, look, this is the thing, the whole like, I don't want to have these tough conversations with my kids and stuff. You sit down. What's the youngest age watching these movies? 5, 6? Understand watching a Pixar movie? You sit down a 5, 6-year-old and they see a gay couple kiss on screen, unless you, if the parents have told them that's weird, they ain't gonna find it weird. End of the day, this whole if you're raising a child and they view same-sex relationships, trans people of their ethnicities weird, if your child's walking down the street going, "Oh, mummy, look, a black person," that's on you. Like, it's and to be like, we don't want to include those things because we don't want parents to have hard conversations. But they're not really even hard conversations. To me, if you're raising a child and it's just if you raise them of normality, of which it is, that LGBTQ plus people exist and people of a races, gender, all are as good as everyone else, then it's not an issue. So yeah, this is all dumb to me. That's how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the majority of people who go see these movies in the cinema really don't care. I feel like this is definitely weirdly like some of the backlash to a film like Lightyear, which had like one little gay kiss in it, and then people got super upset.
They're acting like some kid sitting there going, "Mum, look at the gays."
They're like,
Tell me about that.
Mum, can you explain me in
Yeah.
detail how the lesbian
Yeah.
revolution started?
Yeah.
How did
Mum,
this become normal?
how do they fuck? I know you haven't told me how you and Dad
I don't
fuck
know
yet,
anything about the birds
but
and
now
bees,
that I've seen
but-
a female kiss another female on screen, suddenly I'm really trying to work out how it works without any context of how you and Dad do it either. Like, I'm really mind blown. What are we doing?
Listen, when they said hard conversations, they just mean slight uncomfortableness.
Yeah, well,
Which-
here's the thing.
That's what you should expect when you're a parent, because it should be a
No,
lot
but
of uncomfortable
here's the other thing.
situations.
If it's an uncomfortable conversation, it's because you find it uncomfortable. If you find it uncomfortable talking about gay people or whatever it is, it's because
Yeah.
you find it uncomfortable,
It's
which says
super easy
something
for the
about
kid.
you. Yeah, the kid is not going to find it uncomfortable because a kid
It's-
is sitting there listening to their parent going, okay. If you go, yeah. So, sometimes, you know how me and your daddy eat together? Yeah. Sometimes people like there's daddies and mums too. Kid's going to go, okay,
Okay, move on. Yeah.
move on.
All right.
Fuck.
On a slightly more fun note, we did get some information about some new upcoming projects from Pixar. They did say that there will be a third Monsters, Inc. film coming. There's currently no writers attached to writers, directors, stars, but it is in active development. Unsurprising, obviously they're one of their most beloved films. Would you be keen for a Monsters, Inc. sequel? I mean, they're doing a sequel to pretty much everything. They've got a Toy Story sequel in the works, a Coco sequel in the works, Incredible sequel in the works, and I guess Monsters now. Yeah.
Just looking at my sunburn that I've got today, and I just touched a bit and it really stung. And I was thinking about how much of a bad idea it was that I didn't put on sunscreen today. And I also feel like a sequel to Monsters Inc. is a similar situation.
You should put sunscreen on?
No, it's just a bad idea. It's a bad idea to not put sunscreen on.
I don't know.
It's a bad idea to do a sequel to Monsters Inc. Just leave it. I'm good.
We do see that until Pixar put out a great sequel.
Yeah, that's fine. And I've ate my
Your
I've
gut
ate
feeling,
my
your share of
some-
Korea.
Yeah, but the question is, do I currently feel like it's a good idea? And my answer is no. It's not. Look, do you know the amount of times I could just sit here going, wait and see? What a boring show.
Yeah, that's fair.
Currently,
Alright.
I think it's a bad idea.
But we did get information about two original films that are coming up. First is No Ghost Market, which is said to become Pixar's third animated odyssey into the afterlife following Coco and Soul. No director or writer was confirmed, but the movie is set to draw upon Asian myths about supernatural bazaars where the living and dead interact. Thoughts?
It's wild to me how they can't handle having gay characters or anything on screen, but they're happy to just
Keep talking about people dying in the afterlife.
absolutely
What happens when you die?
they're just going to every different culture around the world and just taking whatever their story is for what happens after you die and do that to kids. Hey, mum, dad, let's talk about death. That's okay.
No, don't need
That's not a
thousands of
hard
years.
conversation.
Yeah, you don't have thousands of hours of therapy from a film like that or Up or
Yeah.
something like that.
What happens when you die? We're okay to put that question out there to parents. What happens when you die is not a tough conversation.
Yeah, what happens when a girl kisses a girl?
Very hard.
Can't explain that.
Can't explain that.
All right. The other is the next film from a Turning Red director and LEO co-director Domi Shi, who has rapidly become one of Pixar's leading lights. Plot details on the film are being kept hush-hush for now, but we do know that the movie is going to be a first for Pixar, the studio's first fully fledged musical. Yeah, that's a crazy note that I did completely forgot that Pixar has not had a history of.
No, it's
musicals.
You expect the Disney movies to be musicals, and Pixar
Yes.
movies are never musicals. Yeah, and which is why growing up, my dad always preferred Pixar movies because he hates musicals.
Well, now he's going to be disappointed because we're going to get our first one.
Yeah, it makes sense because obviously Turning Red had musical elements involved in it, so I could see how that's progressed to this stage. Yeah,
Listen, they saw the success of K-pop Demon Hunters this year, and they're like, we need some
let's
of
lock
that.
in. Yeah, lock in.
Let's lock it in. J-pop Demon Hunters. J-pop Onigu. Trying to think what the demon word of Japanese is. It's a bad joke. Let's move on.
I'm trying to think. They say it in that game Ghostwire. I can't remember.
Yeah. We'll remember later. All right. Yeah, that's everything in the news this week. We'll most interesting stuff in the news this week. Let's move on to talking about some trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, we have The Boys Season 5, developed by Eric Kripke, starring Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, Anthony Starr, Erin Moriarty, Jesse T. Usher, Laz Alonso, Chase Crawford, Toma Capone, Karen Fukuhara, Nathan Mitchell, Colby Minifree, Cameron Crovetti, Susan Hayward, Valerie Curry, Jeffrey D. Morgan, Jensen Ackles, and David Diggs. In this season, the world is dominated by Homelander, and Annie January has formed a resistance while the rest of the team is scattered. But when Billy Butcher reappears, ready to use the virus to wipe out the soups of the world, he sets a motion of chain events that will change the world. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer? But first, are you caught up on The Boys?
I'm not caught up on The Boys, and I really would like to somehow find the fucking time to catch up so I can finish the show. No, I don't even know why I didn't. I don't know. Just one. Sometimes we just
miss it.
Miss
the moment.
Yeah, miss the moment, and then you find it hard to catch up. Double thumbs up for
That's
the trailer.
That's why you go
though.
see the moment.
Yeah, that's why. Because double thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. There's a few characters, moments, and things that are happening in this trailer, including the A-Train stuff that I'm like, okay. But yeah, overall, fun trailer. There's some elements that I presumed would eventually get to because I've read all the comics, like even though I haven't seen certain stuff. But because I've read all the comics, I'm like, I can see how that's like a version of that storyline from the comics or coming into play. And I'm wondering how they'll wrap up the story in comparison to, I mean, the show's always been very, 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 very different compared to the comics. But I'm wondering if they'll end up potentially in the same place, which is a maybe. But yeah, hopefully I can catch up.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. Looks really good. My favorite shot in that is the Homelander in front of the cross where he gets like the halo around him. It's fucking crazy, and like I'm sure it would appeal to people who still believe Homelander is the hero of the story. Yeah, looks really good. I really enjoyed seeing Jensen Ackles back as Soldier Boy. And questioning,
is this a sex thing?
You fuck me.
You fuck me.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Just seeing The Boys back one more time. I also feel like I need to catch up because obviously there's characters there from Gen V, so I'm assuming the latest season of Gen V is probably going to be prevalent.
I think so. That's where it's like I watched whatever the last season was before Gen V came out, and then I watched Gen V season 1, and then I don't think and then that's where I stopped. So I haven't watched any Boys after that, and I haven't watched the Gen V season 2 either.
Yes.
So
I might have to binge watch Gen V to make sure I'm fully caught up.
You haven't watched any Gen V?
I watched like 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay. Because I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So
Homelander,
I know there's elements from that show that played into season 4. So
yeah, Homelander shows up at the end. Spoilers.
So yeah, The Boys releasing on Prime Video 8th of April. The next trailer is for The Audacity, created by Jonathan Glazer, starring Billy Magnuson, Sarah Goldberg, Rob Corddry, Megan Rath, Simon Helberg, Paul Adelstein, and Lucy Punch. A self-appointed inventor of the future, tech CEO, and a self-serving performance psychologist are engulfed in a scandal sparked by the exploitation of personal data. So what do you think of the trailer for The Audacity?
Double thumbs up. I think this is a lock-in. I think early contender for one of the better trailers we've had this year. Absolute insanity going in this, and it's like some fucked up, more intense version of Silicon Valley or something going on here. Everyone, all the actors are great, just the whole vibe. I honestly, the thing is, this trailer, there's just so much shit happening. I could not tell you what the story is though, really, other than which is great. So, but as far as like a 2.5-minute trailer that just gives you a vibe of how manic the show is going to be, it does a great job without really giving away any spoilers, it seems. Yeah, so I thought this is really, really good.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up from me as well. It looks, in my mind, it's what if Succession and Silicon Valley had a baby. Yeah, that's what this show would be. But like, if both shows were on drugs before they had the baby.
There was something also, the best line that trailer that just stuck with me is that girl being like, saying whatever about the phone and being like, yeah, but arms dealers don't give their kids guns or whatever I was like, that's fucked.
Marines don't give their kids landmines.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
That's very true.
Yeah, really good. Like, really interestingly cut together. Like, obviously showcasing the cast and like giving them each a moment to shine and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, looks really cool. I'm keen to check this out. So it is coming to the US on the 12th of April. There is currently no Australian release date, but as far as I can tell, the show is coming to SBS. SBS
Okay.
made some sort of exclusivity deal, so
Okay. I mean,
We'll
it's not
wait
the
and see.
first. They used to have the last big show from memory that they had is they were getting Handmaid's Tale for a while there. They were
yeah, they had
that
it.
was
That's what it first aired and stuff. So
yeah. So
good to them.
good for
Uh,
them.
all right, next trailer. Mike and Nick and Alice, directed by Ben David Grabinski, starring Vince Vaughn, James Marsden, Isaac Gonzalez, Keith David, and Jimmy Tatro. Two friends navigate the dangerous world of organized crime, testing their loyalty and survival skills as they get deeper into the criminal underworld. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer that definitely has more than what the description has?
Double thumbs up. I was trying to think if there was anything I disliked, but no. I think we had a good week for trailers this week, to be honest. For once, but yeah, it honestly when it starts, I was like, I wasn't sure what the vibe or tone or whatever we're going for, and then what happens, I was like, oh, sort of slapstick comedy, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll sort of into it, and then as the trailer progressed, and I was like, oh no, it's like a action comedy, which we don't get a lot of, and is a genre that I quite enjoy when we get good action comedies. I was like all in, so yeah, double thumbs up.
Yeah, just 2 thumbs up from me as well. Yeah, I think the trailer builds really well where you start with them just talking in the car about him learning what
Wet
chloroform
rags.
is. Yeah. Oh, the wet rag thing.
The wet rag thing, yeah.
You could just, there's definitely no confusion that could be had for just
Should
the
just
wet
said
rag
that
thing.
from the start. What are you?
Yeah.
Wasting time. Yeah.
To them being 2 Vince Vaughns, to there being a time travel element to the story, to
Which isn't far fetched compared to cloning.
no, cloning would be crazy.
Yeah.
Time travel, totally normal. And yes, turning into a crazy action thriller kind of thing.
Because I took it that those characters are like Hitman or some, I don't know, like some, like, it seems they're something, right? Is how I took it. Yeah.
Yes. But then who knows? Also, him killing the DJ, very funny. His explanation, I just accidentally killed him. All right. Mike and Nick and Alice is coming to Disney Plus on the 27th of March. Next trailer is for The Miniature Wife, created by Jennifer Ames and Steve Turner, starring Elizabeth Banks and Matthew McFadden. A married couple battle for power within their relationship, which is complicated when a technological accident shrinks the wife to 6 inches tall. Dylan, what do you think of trailer for The Miniature Wife?
Yeah. Great cast, interesting concepts, looks like a lot of fun. We've had a lot of classic films about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and stuff. Now it's Honey, I Shrunk You.
You don't freak out. I shrunk you.
Yeah. So yeah, double thumbs up for this one as well.
I'm going to go 1 up, 1 down. I think it's interesting concept. I don't know if, like, visually it is quite up to snuff.
Yeah, I reckon. I don't know. Okay.
I know, just the clear green screen is not fantastic. I think there is very obvious, like, when things are like visually enhanced and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't quite match up. It's not seamless at any point. Which is my big bear thing to hold against this. Also, how is him shrinking food going to solve the world hunger crisis?
You can transport more, maybe something like that.
I guess that would be the only rational.
Yeah, that's where my brain goes. So maybe that's
the
it.
only rational idea.
Yeah.
But I'd be intrigued to find out. All right. The Miniature Wife is coming to Stand on the 10th of April when all episodes release.
Done.
Final trailer this week. Scary Movie. Directed by Michael Titus. Starring Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Anna Faris, Regina Hall, Jerry O'Terry, Chris Elliott, Dave Sheridan, Lachlan Monroe, John Abrahams, and Anthony Anderson. 2 friends find themselves caught up in mayhem, involving killers, monsters, and supernatural creatures once again. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for the latest Scary Movie?
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. It just looks absolutely like the first couple, which I have a lot of memory. Like growing up, the first 2 Scary Movies were quite often rewatched at like sleepovers and shit like that. Like the first 2 Scary Movies were go-to films, to be honest, for my friends and stuff. Third one, yeah. After that, no. So go for it. I mean, the thing is, this trailer, like, in alternate, if I didn't have some sort of lineage for it, I'd be like, I could definitely see, like, there is that element of eye rolling, like, there will be no safe spaces and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, like, a bit ridiculous. But I don't know, the Scary Movie franchise has just always been so ridiculous. It sort of falls into the realm of South Park, where I'm like, I don't know, they're just fucking with everyone. I don't think I can get annoyed, like, compared to Ricky Gervais being like, there's no safe spaces. And I'm like, I know what that means. It's an hour and a half of trans people talk. Like, yeah, and the whole cast is back. All the originals and like Anna Faris and Regina Hall skipped 5. So they're back, but then a lot of the other people, including the Wayans,
Well, the Wayans.
But the other big ones are coming back. And yeah, and obviously as a big horror fan, the spoofing of the franchise and was always like super interesting. And I'm watching the trailer and it's like pretty cool to see. And I assume Damien Leone would feel that, and he's posted about how cool it is. But seeing Terrifier spoofed in here and stuff, it's like if your film's spoofed in a scary movie, it's like it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Is it a spoof or just straight up rip off? Because it looks exactly like Art the Clown.
No, that's not what happens in the actual movie. He hands them bombs and blows them all up. Spoilers.
Different to nuts.
What the fuck are these? Also, there's something funny about the Anna Harris, Cindy part just being like, I'm a Republican now, so I don't know if I can do this. It's all right, girl. I assume all white people are racist.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up. I think it definitely is capturing the vibe of the scary movies, the original ones. Like, it's interesting to learn. Like, I've never paid attention, but the original 2 were made by the Wayans, but then 3 on were made by David Zucker, who was, primarily, he was heavily involved. Who of course did like Airplane and The Naked Gun and stuff like that of that era. So that's interesting. I'm sure we'll get into it because we're planning to do a Bro 2 series about Scary Movie. So we'll be rewatching all the films later this year.
Growing up, because when they put them all out, and then obviously there was all the Meet the Spartans and the dance movie and all these many things off. I know me and my dad always used to absolutely just make fun of every time a new trailer would come out for one of these other ones, including like Scary Movie 4 and stuff. It'd be like the credits would always say it with such proud fondness. It'd be like, from 2 of the 10 producers of Scary Movie. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, there's not even 2 of the good ones.
But yeah, looks good. I appreciate that I could understand where most of the references.
Most references come from.
Because they're pretty
recent,
like pretty big things,
I mean, even if you haven't watched them, it's like, you recognize weapons, like you obviously seen Sinners, you recognize Terrifier, like even if you haven't watched it, you'd recognize the imagery.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very intrigued. I appreciate them making Anna Faris, Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween, the latest version. Well, crazy lady. All right, Scary Movie is coming to Australian cinemas on the 11th of June. Let's move into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And with the Academy Awards about to release, I thought we better do an Academy Award related top 3. And we do know that the Stunts category is set to become a category in the Academy Awards. I believe it's next year or the year after.
I think it's next year. I think it was
next year.
Because they spread out the 2
spread out
categories.
New categories, yeah. So this week's top 3 is top 3 films that could have had a Best Stunts Academy Award nomination this year. Simple. Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Running Man. Movies.
My number 3 is Running Man.
There we go. Movies
I'm
okay.
now very worried that our top 3 are going to be exactly the same.
I think our top
may be
one,
a first.
number 1, I think number 1 is the same. Number 2, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, Running Man, okay movie, but a lot of real stunts, and a big team. Obviously, there's a lot of fight scenes and diving through stuff and whatever else. And Ed Wright's already released and included it. He did a good fucking DVD. I'll give him credit for that. And he's been happily promoting how good the extra features are and promoting physical media on Instagram. Go for you, Mr. Wright. But yeah, showing off all the behind the scenes of how a lot of these stunts were filmed and put together, and just proper stunt teams doing stuff like throwing themselves out windows and whatever else. And it's not CGI. So Running Man.
Yeah, I think we both were a bit let down by the movie, but I think there are some really fantastic set pieces, especially like Glen Powell running through the hotel or motel.
Hotel, yeah.
Yeah, and then the home invasion with Michael Cera.
Hmm.
I was about to say John Cena. They're very different people.
Dun, 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 dun.
Those are both full of great action set pieces.
They look very similar.
Yeah, I know. So Running Man, both of our number 3s. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Ballerina
No, okay, we're not going to have the same list. Yeah.
from the world of John Wick. Again, another movie that's okay. However, I do think it has a lot of really good stunts, and it generally has one of the better, more interesting gunfights, guns in quotations, that I think is a standout from it, which there's a flamethrower fight off between Anna de Armas's character and some goon. But in general, it's a combination of, she's got a lot of stuff. There's obviously the big thing. They're all running around town doing stuff. John Wick's fucking Keanu, running around doing his whole normal thing. But yeah, I mean, John Wick franchise is probably a go-to for, more recent stunt categories if it was picking from the last 10 years. So from last year, Ballerina, mixed movie, mixed results, stunts, still keeps up that well, not quite as good as the other ones, but still keeps up the caliber that the franchise is known for.
All right. My number 2 is F1, Colin the movie. Yeah, obviously it's a film filled with high-speed car sequences. You could even call them car chases because technically they're all
They're
chasing
chasing.
whoever's in first, trying to get in front of. But you've got high-speed crashes and all that kind of stuff.
Apart from Australians who'd love to crash on their home turf.
Very sad. Yeah, I mean, it's shot really beautifully, and like a lot of the car choreography, I guess, is really great in the film. Like to pull off the crazy crashes or the cheating ways of Brad Pitt's character and that kind of stuff. I think all the
Whoops, I clipped
coordination and
that.
planning. Yeah. The bending of rules by Brad Pitt's character would be
Even all that the
pretty
fucking
risky.
race at the end that plays through the credits is still.
Yeah. So yeah, F1 would be my number 2. Dylan, what is your
Our number 1 between the
number
two of us is collectively Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
obviously.
hard to go past it.
It's hard to go past. As much as we had mixed feelings on the movie, again, my whole list is just a bunch of like mixed, but still the stunts are great. And there's nothing different about Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. Everything from the submarine sequence, which is absolute insanity as far as stunt planning and recording and everything goes, through to Tom Cruise just hanging off the side of a fucking plane and doing that whole thing that he does. Yeah. Mission
Yes, it is kind of a miracle that Tom Cruise survived this one. I've come to appreciate the plane sequence maybe a little bit more. I was really taken by the submarine sequence, but I think that's a lot of that is the cinematography and the planning and that kind of stuff. Even though there's like a lot of planning about jumping around and like the way and like obviously the underwaterness of it, I think is potentially more scary to people than the heights. Just because you know for sure you're going to be dead in the water.
Yeah, the submarine sequence definitely gives me, especially as like, I feel like claustrophobia and like the idea of drowning is not like one of the, people have like ways they would not like to die. For some reason, I don't like the idea of drowning. So that sequence, watching a cinema, that was a like, what do you call it, like throat, stomach in your mouth
Visceral,
sort of. Yeah, sort of. But the plane stuff, I agree. I enjoyed it the first time. When I rewatched it when it came out on Blu-ray, though, I enjoyed the plane stuff even more. With that, like knowing where it goes, just the shots of Tom Cruise's like cheeks, like with the wind as he's trying to climb up and stuff like that. That adds such an element that you just wouldn't get if you weren't doing it. Like
yes, and the not very clear wires. And it's like, how was he actually hanging off this? Or but yeah, you can tell it's all real, which is bonkers. Why would he do that? He's a crazy person.
Scientology, man.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to give Mission Impossible for Final Reckoning an honorary Academy Award for Best Stunts. Even though
comes back to do
came
one
out a
more
year
final.
before they came
Mission
out.
Impossible, we're doing the last one so we can get nominated for Academy Award. The final reckoning.
The blatant Academy Award.
Yeah, runner. Yeah,
runner. All right, Dylan. This week, what do you want to watch?
So this week, I'm changing my. I usually, I usually stick to strict rules to how I the one movie, one TV show. I've twisted my rules and I've decided going forth. This is how I'm doing it. One thing in cinemas and one thing you can watch at home. I think is what I'm deciding. I'm changing my rules. So one thing I'd like to watch in cinemas this week is actually reminders of him. I know that I'm not like these Colleen Hoover. I haven't read the books and the movies, mixed results and stuff like that. But I've generally intrigued. I've watched this trailer a couple of times. It's played in cinemas, and every time for some reason, I'm quite intrigued. That might be because I'm a Michael Monroe fan. So that's speaking possibly to me. I think she's generally a very good actress who everything I've watched her in is usually a good movie, or at least she's a good part of it. So I'm picking that for in cinemas. And then what I would like to watch at home is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, which is coming to Amazon Prime Video.
Prime Video, is it?
Prime Video. That's where that movie's going.
Not
Didn't hit
streaming?
cinemas.
Okay.
Love that.
You're gonna love it, but
Mm.
yes, best second chance. Cinema wise, I would be keen to check out Arco, which is one of the Academy Award nominated films this year, finally come to cinemas.
Man, Arco, Ash, you know this crazy thing? If you head to explosionnetwork.com if you're listening to this as it drops, you've probably got about 6 hours to enter to win one of 3 double passes to watch Arco in cinemas.
I mean, probably less because you'd have to have listened to the entire episode, hopefully.
You've got about
I mean, there's a
5
chance
hours.
that you've skipped to the end and just want to hear what we want to watch this day week.
There's a chance you've got a few hours left to enter the competition on explosionnetwork.com to win one of 3 double passes to check out Arco in cinemas, thanks to our friends at Kismet Movies.
Yeah. That on the TV front, I'm definitely going to be checking out the second season of One Piece, which is dropping this week. Very keen for that. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Let us know what you want to watch this week by finding us on social media by going to explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Anyone leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you want to help us out at the Explosion Network in general with all our other podcasts and articles and reviews, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
Wear sunscreen because my leg has been hurting this entire recording.
Number 1 lesson to be learned on Explosion Network this year so far. Between you and Kieran.
God damn it. I didn't think it would be that sunny today.